morning. I'm Congressman Steve Israel. I'm joined by my colleague and partner on this project, Congressman Peter King. We're also here with John Feal, President and founder of the Fealgood Foundation, Dr. Benjamin Luft, who's the principal investigator for the 9/11 Oral History Project and director of the World Trade Center Medical Monitoring Program at SUNY Stony Brook. Ken George and John Devlin are with us. They were workers at the Ground Zero. And I want to thank John Hanley and his team at Innovative Stone for their patriotism, for their work on the monument just outside that you saw on the way in, that you will see on the way out, which is a reminder for everybody who passes of our commitment to those who lost their lives and those who sacrificed their lives and those who served on 9/11. We're about to celebrate to commemorate the 10-year anniversary of 9/11. And for most of us, the scars are still recent. For most of us, it is almost impossible to believe that it has been 10 years. What Congressman King and I have talked about is what happens in 20 years, in 50 years, in 100 years. What will people say, and how will people perceive what happened on 9/11? And that's why Congressman King and I decided to team up together in a bipartisan way to ensure that the words of those who were there on that day are permanently enshrined in the American and the world's memory. I had visited the medical monitoring program several months ago and talked to Dr. Luft, who, as I said, is the director of the World Trade Center Medical Monitoring Program. And there I saw people who are delving into and investigating the physical signs of what happened that day. But almost as important was the videos that I saw of men and women who were there that day and were expressing themselves. It wasn't a clinical look, it was an emotional look. And that was just as important as the physical conditions that they had, was listening to their words, listening to them explain exactly what they saw, what they heard, what they felt. And I asked Dr. Luft what he was doing with these documentaries. He was videoing this testimony. And he said, well, we'd like to really preserve this. And I called Congressman King and asked him if he would work together to ask the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., which maintains an oral history project as part of their American Folklife program, if they would commit to accept oral histories from people who were at Ground Zero. And Congressman King and I introduced legislation that would have directed the Library of Congress to take these videos and make them part of their permanent collection. And quite honestly, we thought that it was going to take an act of Congress to get them to do it, but it didn't. The Library of Congress visited the facility, saw the videos, and on their own, without needing an act of Congress, made a decision that they would include this testimony in their oral history collection. And so in May, the Library of Congress formally notified Congressman King and I that they will use the Library of Congress as a repository for the interviews and other documentation created by Dr. Luft's project. Dr. Luft will be responsible for the planning and organization of the project, carry out the interviews and other documentation necessary to fulfill the goals that he set. The library is going to act as advisors on aspects of the project, from interviewing, archival processing, also advising on the digital specifications and the metadata standards for the project. After the completion of the project, and this is right from the Library of Congress, the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress will act as a repository for the interviews and other documentation created by the project, and work with your team in assuring the proper archival standards are maintained during the transfer of both digital and analog materials from your offices at SUNY Stony Brook to the Library of Congress. And so this is an example. There's lots of talk about Democrats beating up Republicans and Republicans beating up Democrats and things not happening and paralysis. Well, there's lots of differences, lots of things that divide us. This is something that unites us. This is something that united Democrats and Republicans, that didn't take an act of Congress, but took the right decision by the Library of Congress to make these interviews part of their permanent collection. Let me just conclude with this and then turn it over to my colleague. I said it before, but I can't tell you how important it is. On September 11th, 2011, it won't be hard for us to remember what happened 10 years ago. But the time the passage of time sometimes fades those memories. And that's why the words of those who were there on that day are so vital. And that's why those words need to be enshrined forever at the Library of Congress, so that my kids, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren will be able to go to the Library of Congress one day and understand what really happened on 9/11/2001. And we turn to my partner, I'm the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, and our neighbor, Congressman Peter Ken.
Thank you very much, Steve. Let me, at the very outset, commend Congressman Israel for the leadership he's shown on this. He was, there you go, you can clap that up. He is really the one who got this started. I was privileged to work with him. I'm privileged to work with him. And as Steve said, it was a combined effort of Democrats and Republicans. But again, I want to thank him for spearheading it and really getting it off the ground. And of course, thank Dr. Luft for what he's done as far as chronicling this terrible moment in our history, but also in many ways the greatest moment in our history, because it showed how America did respond to such a terrible attack on us. And I agree with everything Steve said. The 10th anniversary coming up, for many of us, you know, the memories still are vivid, but the fact is that as time goes by, those memories are going to erode. Future generations will wonder what happened, and it's not enough to have reporters or politicians talk about it. It's really important to have those who were there, people who were there, who smelt it and felt it and saw the terrible carnage and tragedy, or actually part of the relief and rescue operation, the recovery operation, and spent so much time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears at ground zero, to have them describe what their impressions were. That's really the only way you get a full understanding of history, by having people who are on the scene. And you know, analysts and historians can sort of sort that out later on, but the important thing to me is have that first-hand, first impression account there from those who really put themselves on the line. So I'm proud to be part of this project. I'm delighted that the Library of Congress is going to allow itself to be used as a repository for this absolutely invaluable information, data, and impressions. So with that, I am, again, want to thank Steve for what he's done. Thank the first responders that are here today. John Feal, I don't know how much time he's putting down in Congress. Probably he's down there more than most congressmen are. So I want to thank him for all the effort that he puts in, and everyone here who has done so much. But again, primarily Congressman Israel, and with that, Steve, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. And thank you, Congressman. And really, Peter and I just picked up a ball that was handed to us by Dr. Benjamin Luft, the principal investigator for the 9/11 Oral History Project and director of the World Trade Center Medical Monitoring Program at SUNY Stony Brook. Dr. Luft.
Israel. It's such a great honor to be amongst two great congressmen. It makes me proud to be a Long Islander. Both sides of the aisle coming together. I think what's most important is that these two leaders embrace the honesty, the truth of 9/11 with forthrightness, and not only did they embrace it, but they want to disseminate this information. And I can't thank you enough. I think all responders, thank you. Because I think what they're looking for is exactly the honesty and forthrightness of our government, that I think you, both of you, represent that. Thank you so much.
Someone who is known to virtually every member of Congress, the White House, certainly Peter and I, when the legislation was passed to assist, and it didn't go far enough, but when it was passed to assist those workers, responders, recovery workers who were at ground zero, it was introduced by certain members of Congress, it was signed by the President of the United States, but really it had John Feal's name all over it. John Feal from Fealgood Foundation.
First, let me say thank you, and Congressman Israel and Congressman King are the best of what Congress has to offer. And while there's a lot of bad news coming out of D.C. with gridlocks and ideology differences, these two men are champions in every sense of the word, and they have never let us down. So I speak for the 9/11 community when I say thank you for everything, not just this project, but the bill. When there's an issue or one of your constituents or 9/11 responders, you guys are always there. So no one does it better than you two. Thank you. In 26, 27 days, we'll celebrate, we'll remember, we'll pay homage, however you want to phrase it, to the 10-year anniversary. We don't need an anniversary to remember 9/11. Us 9/11 responders live it every day. Every day. A lot of you will go home and go about your business, but we live it every day. When we have to take our medications, we're reminded of what we did at Ground Zero. When we look at our injuries and our illnesses and visit the doctors, we live it every day. No offense to anybody in D.C., but we don't need an elected official to remind us to remember 9/11. We don't need the media to let us know that the anniversary is coming. We live it every day. This project is our way of saying thank you for letting us tell our story. You cannot change history. 9/11 happened. 2,751 lives were lost to senseless violence. Evil men with evil intentions wanted to do as much harm as possible. And in a way they succeeded. But evil met good. The resolve and the spirit of the American people came together to aid this great nation. These men behind me did that. Dr. Luft is telling their stories now. This is an amazing project. We cannot change what happened on 9/11, nor do I want to change what happened on 9/11. I embrace it. To me, it's about solutions and problem solving. So it doesn't happen again. And if it does happen again, we then make sure that we take care of those who risk their lives without prejudice. The stories that are being told now through Dr. Love's book, his video, and in the Library of Congress are pure human emotion. They're truth. No editing. They're powerful stories of what they had to do and what they had to overcome the last 10 years. It doesn't get any better than that. Thank you.
Questions? Off topic. Off topic. Any on-topic questions before we go off topic?
Perhaps one. I'm sorry.
Oh. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm calling you. You said there were two workers here. I just wondered if we could get your own, just a sense of a comment from the workers on what's the personal value for you of this happening.
My name is John Devlin. I'm a first responder, and one of the casualties, if you want to say, from being a patriot to this country. I have level 4 inoperable throat cancer, and first want to thank everybody here for what they've done, because it wasn't for all their support, you wouldn't be here today, and we wouldn't be showing our country, the world, what we're really going through. To make that library in D.C. is going to show what we did down there as patriots. I represent the Union Trade Force, the civilian force that went down there. We weren't prepared for it, but we weren't going to leave either, because this is our country. We are united. These two men right here are showing it to you again today. Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. United States, united, we are a united front. Nobody can take that from us, and we're proving it when you go down here now watching the buildings. So to make this library, it's not only going to help my personal family if they want to go see it, but they live it every day. But it's going to show the outside metropolitan area, and I'm sad to say it, but it's only the metropolitan area that I see that really believes that it's a United States problem. When you go outside it, basically they say it's a New York problem, and that's sad, because there are 50 states in this country, and we all are represented there, and that's what the United States is about. So when you guys show all this out there, get the word out beyond New York, get it out to everybody else, to realize that every day is a fight for the 9/11 responder. And when this anniversary does come up, and it goes by, life has a way of getting very complex. Everyone goes back into their things. But the 9/11 responder, and I can personally tell you this, we live this every day. I never thought I would. I didn't get sick with cancer till 7 years after it. And I can tell you, you try to make an even balance in life, but you can't. There's no balance with disease, no matter what you think. So when this anniversary is over, and you guys are done writing your pages and your stories, You have to leave one page blank, because that's the unknown. And that's what the 9/11 responder has to face every day, is that blank page. Because there is an unknown. We're certainly going to die. But the unknown between now and death, there is no answer. Thank you.
Just so you know, the magnitude of what John was talking about, there's 435 congressional districts in the United States. 430 of them were represented at Ground Zero. Somebody from every state came to aid this city and this country. Just so you know the scope. There's 11,000 plus 9/11 responders across the nation who are being treated by the National 9/11 program outside of the tri-state area. So this, hopefully you understand the magnitude what John was talking about.
My name is Ken George. I work for the New York City Highway Department. I was sent down there as a rescue worker. And I'd like to thank everybody up here for doing all they could with this oil project. But for me, the oil project, it means something to me because, see, I got a granddaughter that's sitting right behind us over there. And right now, she's too young to realize what I'm going through when I'm sitting home taking all these medications and I have an oxygen tank on. She's pulling it off my nose and everything like that. Hopefully, when she gets older, she can come down and look at the project and see exactly what I went through down there and all the stuff that I've seen down there. And that's what I hope for all the other responders too, that their family members get to see their story later on in life when they're not around to tell the story. Thank you.
So the Library of Congress has the Gutenberg Bible. It has the rarest manuscripts in American history, and now it has something even as important, the original words of New Yorkers who went to Ground Zero.